This Palo Cortado is terrible. I really don't understand people who think this is good. Um, yeah, and the water made it even worse. Welcome to Whiskey and SV. I'm your host Sam, and tonight we're going to be drinking some Springbank 10s that have been finished in various sherry casks. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that I've been trying to review this series as it's coming out. About 3 years ago, Springbank decided that they're going to come out with these experimental sherry series, where they will start with the most nutty and sticky type of sherry, which is Pedro Jimenez, and go all the way down to Manzanilla, Fino and Manzanilla, which are the most fresh type of sherry that you can find. And the way they're doing this is that for the first release, which was the PX, they're doing 7 years in ex-bourbon cask and 3 years in the Pedro Jimenez cask. The second release, which is the Palo Cortado, Palo Cortado is a hybrid between the fresh and the the oxidative sort of aging, and it is the unintentional or accidental type, which is a very rare type of thing. So this was supposed to be, it was very promising, I guess, based on the fact that Palo Cortado is such a rare form of sherry, and the aging is 4 years in the ex bourbon. Sorry, 6 years in ex bourbon and 4 years in the Palo Cortado. And then when we go one level below that, the other type of hybrid aging, which is Amontillado. And Amontillado is a deliberate type of hybrid in that the yeast layer is actually intentionally destroyed by adding additional grape alcohol to the sherry. So it is a hybrid between the fresh style and the more nutty styles that you get from purely oxidative aging. And this one is 5 years in bourbon, 5 years in Amontillado. So this was the fresh release that I'm trying to put up against the previous two versions to see if it can be better than. If you remember, I didn't really enjoy the Palo Cortado very much. I thought the PX was reasonable. These are all pretty pricey, so they better be really good for the price. And there will be 2 more releases. The next one, I believe, will be a Fino, and as you know, Fino is the a fresh type of cask, a sherry that basically ages under the yeast layer, so it doesn't get any oxidation. And that one I believe will be 4 years in bourbon and then 6 years in Fino cask. And the last one will be would be the Manzanilla. And Manzanilla is, I guess, the most fresh type, and that will be 7 years in bourbon. 3 years in bourbon cask and 7 years in the Manzanilla cask. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to pour these, and we'll do a blind with this one to see if I can sort of tell them apart and also tell you which one I prefer. So we'll put about half an ounce into each. I think we'll just take the PX out. Actually, we'll just not do a blind on the PX because the PX is really obvious. So we'll just do a blind between these two. So as I mentioned, there's no point really doing a blind with the PX, but I'm still just going to nose it and taste it along with the rest of them, just to tell you how I feel about it. So it's the typical. It comes across as very fruity and sweet. Of course, being Springbank, there's a moderate amount of peat there as well. There's also some citrus notes here, which is surprising for a PX, I think. Yeah, I would say my main concern with this is that it's so heavily sherried that Springbank funk is really hard to pick out here. And sometimes with Springbank you also get some sort of tropical notes, but that's definitely not here. It's just sort of a heavily sherried, nondescript sort of experience on the nose. All right, let's go to the second one. So comparatively, it is less sherry influence. I feel like my nose is not able to pick up much tonight. Hmm. This, by comparison, is much sweeter, and yeah, there's much more sweetness, like fruity sweetness, and and sort of a sugary sort of aromas there. I would say so far, I kind of have a preference for this on the nose. It's the most interesting out of all of them. This is kind of muted. It's hard to get much out of it. This is nice. It's just, not overly complex. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna start by the PX because it was out of those two definitely my favorite. That's much more enjoyable than I remember it. There's quite a bit of a kick to it. It has some saline, um, sort of maritime qualities to it at the same time as being somewhat fruity, but also it has quite a bit of peppers that kick you and make your mouth water. So um, packs quite a punch. It's actually very enjoyable. I think um, it's the in the past I felt that it was very one dimensional, but I think this sip was actually more complex than I remember it. Yeah, quite a lot of earthy flavors as well that come out with that peat. It even reminds me a little bit of the Springbank 12 cask strength, which is one of my favorite bottles from Springbank. Very nice. I like this quite a bit. All right, we'll go to the second one. This is still sort of muted on the nose, so it's quite a bit of an acidic, sharp note to this, which I remember was what the Palo Cortado had. I don't know how to describe it, but it's sort of it bothers the back of my throat in some ways. It's very acidic in a negative way. Yeah, it goes through my nose as well. It has this like unpleasant fizzy acidic note which I don't enjoy, and it really reminds me of the Palo Cortado, to be honest. Okay, I need to have a little bit of water. I think I'll put some water in these to let them open up a little bit as well. Once on the second time round. This is very aromatic. It's quite nice. I think this is what this should have been. Um, I'd venture to say that this is the new one because the profile is somewhat similar, but it just doesn't have those unpleasant acidic and fizzy notes that bother me. It's much more aromatic too. Interesting. It has a little bit of that acidic note to it. It's more spicy, I feel, as well. Okay, I think I should add some drops of water to these. Let them open up a little bit. I'm adding a little bit more than a little bit drops of water. So hopefully the water will allow them to open up a little bit and um, allow me to taste and smell something different. All right, let's see. That didn't really make this any better on the nose, to be honest. Neither did this. I feel like my nose is off tonight. I'm not able to really pick out too many specific aromas. Let's go for the palate. The water actually ended up making this more acidic, um, and I do not enjoy that. There is a burning sensation on the back of my throat right now because of this. Okay, let's try this. Oh, this Palo Cortado is terrible. I really don't understand people who think this is good. Um, yeah, and the water made it even worse. Okay, Amontillado. I hope that's the Palo Cortado anyway. I really don't know, but that's kind of pleasant. Honestly, I have to say that whatever this is, I think it's sort of like the most complex. It had like the most beautiful nose out of them all, and it wasn't. It didn't have like those unpleasant notes, and it's kind of a very lingering taste. So yeah, I think this is my favorite out of the three. So let's do a quick reveal. So what is this one? This one is number one. Okay, so this is the Amontillado. All right, so conclusions. The PX. I think this is more complex than I remember it. It's pretty decent whiskey. I think it's overpriced for sure. Secondary price is in the or approaching $400. Maybe it's gone down a bit as has everything else recently. but still, probably if you want to get your hands on one, you got to pay 350 plus, and I don't think it's worth that much. It is a relatively interesting whiskey that is I would be happy to pay around 100, 120, maybe even 150, but not more than that. The Palo Cortado, I objectively think is terrible. It just has this acidic note that really bothers my throat and goes up through my nose, and I just don't know people who enjoy it what they see in it. I don't know. Maybe that's very subjective to me, but now I've tried it multiple times, and it's always just gives me the same terrible feeling. And then last but not least, the new release, which is the Amontillado. I think the Amontillado is actually pretty decent. It's like it is probably the best one so far because it is more complex than the PX, and I think it's basically what the Palo Cortado was supposed to be. It has sort of the same profile, but it just doesn't have those off notes that bother my throat or go up through my nose. So and it has a very lingering taste. So I really enjoy this. Yeah, I think this is definitely backup worthy. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Please join me next time when we'll do more interesting reviews. Cheers and have a good night. Take care.